This is Jacksonville, your city. Gateway to Florida, potential metropolis of the Southeast. It's a city that is just winding up a decade of phenomenal growth and just starting out on another one. In its fine natural harbor stretching along the banks of the beautiful St. Johns River, there is both shipping and shipbuilding. A steady flow of motor traffic back and forth across a modern four-lane bridge. Downtown in the shopping and business district, there's an endless hustle of activity, an air of prosperity. The crowd moves with sure purpose along the busy streets, looking as though they know where they're going, know how to get there, and are in fact already on their way. All of it says plainly and quite proudly, this is Jacksonville, city with a future. But maybe we're being a little too optimistic. Let's walk down the stretch of Newnan Street and see if there's more to a city than what appears on the surface. In a way, a city of human beings is much like any individual human being. If its heart is bad, it never can hope to reach full stature, vigor, and maturity. Jacksonville does have something of a bad heart, a heart of slums and blighted areas. This little alley is a sample. It isn't far out of anybody's way, just a few short blocks, in fact, from gleaming downtown shops and office buildings. But what a difference those few blocks make. Here is a world of moldering wood, hard-packed, germ-ridden dirt, of windowless windows, hopefully patched with old newspapers and strips of cardboard. Yet this is home and playground, all the known world to many Jacksonville children. It's an ugly and degrading world of vile, broken privies, of primitive plumbing that's neither useful nor beautiful, of moral and spiritual decay. This very plumbing, if you can dignify it by the name of plumbing, can bring disease and death into your home through the medium of your servants. Some of your own servants may be using such outmoded, filthy outhouses as these. Some of us never see these slums, because our normal business just doesn't take us near them. Some, perhaps, have become accustomed to the sight, just don't notice anything wrong. But nevertheless, the slums are there, filled with evil, a threat to the health and progress of an entire city, a challenge to those who believe in the future of Jacksonville. Do you recognize this thoroughfare? Yes, it's Pearl Street, looking south toward the city. There are many slum shanties situated in this area on Pearl Street. A fine, clean-looking thoroughfare that you've probably traveled 1,000 times. You were keeping your eye on the road, of course. So maybe you never noticed those shanties over to your right. Each of them with its shabby, disease-ridden outhouse. The best view, actually, would be from the steps of the State Board of Health building, right across the street. It's well located, isn't it? That temple of public health. Certainly it's convenient to Jacksonville's most serious health menace, though apparently without power to do anything about it. Look at them. Row on row of dilapidated huts. Each of these shacks renting from $18 to $22 a month. Uncomfortable, unsanitary, indecent, an insult to human dignity, spread like an evil cancer through the heart of Jacksonville. Those outhouses. Would you have believed they existed anymore in your city, so many and so ugly? This is the kind of sanitary facility that was outmoded many years ago, condemned as a menace to human life. Certainly a modern city on the threshold of its future is no place to preserve such relics of the dismal past. The price we may have to pay for such filth would be far greater than the cost of eliminating it. Just think of it. Most of the roofs on these shanties leak. The walls, which never have been painted, are rotted away. The windows are broken and sealed with cardboard. Yes, it keeps out the rain, but it keeps out the air, too. And yet these dwellings cost the occupants as much as they would have to pay in modern, low-cost housing projects with complete sanitary facilities. Jacksonville certainly is a city of contrasts. Here's Springfield Park with its fresh green grass and shrubbery, its air of cleanliness, just a few steps from the grimy slums. But let's move back to Pearl Street. More slums. They're not all Negro slums either. White families are living in similar surroundings here in Jacksonville, but because of the personalities that might be involved, none of them are photographed. Is it possible that there is no hope for recovery from this dread disease? Because this is the way things are now, because human beings live and eat and sleep in these wretched shacks, does it follow that this is the way things must remain? Fortunately, it does not. With determination and planning, we can create fresh, vigorous life where formerly was only stagnation, dry rot, and decay. It's interesting to observe, for example, that many of Jacksonville's most noxious slums are in the very shadow of the city's finest and tallest new apartment building. A building which itself is symbolic of new life and growth as it rises out of the creeping, cancerous death below. That fine new structure represents the heart of Jacksonville as it should be and as it can be, rising to the sky, looking to the future. From the Lee Street Viaduct looking down Park, this journey of ours through Jacksonville's slums could go on for a long time, because these dismal wastes of lost land and lost lives are honeycombed through the area of older Jacksonville, bearing with them their menace of health, their social unrest, their economic stagnation, their sprawl for tumble-down miles along the railroad tracks, so that newcomers and visitors to our city and tourists passing through on slick, modern streamliners can get a good, long look at them. What an impression they must give. We certainly don't turn our most charming side of our personality to the world, do we? It isn't easy for a city to make real progress in a competitive world without tapping all its resources, without getting the most through human energy and vision out of what nature has given us. Yet we're writing off these vast areas of slums as so much wasteland. Not only do they fail to carry their own weight, but by their very existence, they're a drag on the whole community as it forges ahead. And yet, if we will but take the trouble, all this urban wreckage can be cleared away. The families which live now in unspeakable squalor can have modern, comfortable, low-cost housing like this. But it is not only for the sake of presenting a nice appearance that Jacksonville cannot tolerate these hideous slums, nor is it only the voice of philanthropy that says they must be eliminated, torn out forever. Let's talk about disease for just a minute. Do you really believe that you or your family would be immune if an epidemic started here just because you happen to live a few miles away? Come to think of it, that servant girl who comes to your house each morning, handles your dishes and food and clothing, cares for your children. Do you know where she goes at night? Maybe her home is one of these places, right along here. Does that thought please you? The question tomorrow before your city officials will be whether or not the people of Jacksonville will continue to tolerate the existence of sites such as you are now witnessing. Or will we see to it that the residents of these slum areas will be afforded the opportunity for health and happiness to be enjoyed in private homes? Are we going to give our less fortunate citizens, those not able to help themselves, decent living accommodations at reasonable rents in clean and sanitary surroundings, one of our city-owned and city-operated public housing units? Or shall these sections of our city, which are now suffering from the intolerable aches, the stigma of slums, shall they be redeveloped as beautiful parks? Public housing, private housing, industrial sites, or will they be developed into the commercial areas needed to serve our increasing population? This matter will be decided upon tomorrow at the meeting of your city commission in the city hall. Now, will you be complacent and self-secure in your own home, or will you be a member of the unselfish public who will be present to defend the case of our city against filth and disease, that she may enjoy the full growth and beauty which is so justly ours?